Hey guys, it's Sean with Bites on a Budget, and I'm so glad that you're joining us here on KBHU-TV. Today we are doing desserts, and so we've got two on the menu for tonight. So we are doing an apple pumpkin slow cooker pudding, which is absolutely awesome. I can't wait for you to try it at home. And then we are also doing a strawberry and white chocolate scone. Total, this is going to cost less than $15, which is crazy, but we're going to do it. So here we go. We're going to start with the apple pumpkin pudding, and it's just going to be a slow cooker. If you don't have a slow cooker, they're super cheap at Walmart or really anywhere. Really inexpensive, and it's something you can use all the time, especially for cooking ahead of time. So I'd really suggest picking one up if you don't have one. So this recipe calls for, we start with two or three medium apples. So I'm just going to start by slicing and dicing these up. Now remember, your knife scales don't have to be awesome, because mine aren't either. But we're just going to make sure to not try to get too many seeds. That doesn't make for a very good pudding. And it doesn't really matter what kind of apples you're using. I just happen to have, there are actually three different kinds, a jazz apple, a green apple, and a honey crisp, because it's that time of year and honey crisps are my favorite. But really, whatever apples you want to pick up are totally fine. I got all this at Looters, so I'd suggest checking them out. I know they've got a great produce section, so you should check that out. So now I've got my slow cooker, and I'm just going to take these chopped apples and layer them on the bottom of my slow cooker. It's not on yet, so you definitely don't want that on, or these are going to be cooked before we even get done. So. So now that I have all of my apples, I'm going to do just some simple mixing in a mixing bowl. So we're going to take a 15-ounce can of pumpkin puree, and we're going to take 1 can of evaporated milk, I have a 1/3 cup of brown sugar, and a couple tablespoons of pumpkin pie spice. Everything's good with pumpkin. Okay, let me take that back. Not everything is good with pumpkin pie spice, but this is really good with pumpkin. Ugh. Say that 5 times fast. Best of luck. So I'm just gonna whisk all this together. And I promise you, it looks really gross in this bowl, but it's gonna taste really, really, really good. Make sure that you repeatedly scrape the sides, making sure that you don't lose out on any of that goodness that's going on in that bowl. So we're going to take all this mixture and just pour it right on top over our apples in the bottom of this slow cooker. It just smells like pumpkin pie. It's just so good. So now another small bowl. I'm going to use a small bowl. You're going to take some walnuts. Now walnuts are optional. I know walnuts are pretty expensive, but if you find them on sale, stock up, because they keep forever, and you can always throw them in the freezer to make sure that they're keeping their shelf life. We're also going to have a 1/2 cup of rolled oats, and then 5 tablespoons of butter that I'm going to heat up. Now this mixture you can just mix right with your hands. It's really, really simple. So get all that mixed up. And then you can use a spice cake mix if you'd like. But I couldn't find spice cake, so you can just use a yellow cake mix, and that works just fine. And we're going to pour that right into this bowl also. And like I said, you can just mix this with your hands. If you don't like to be a dirty cook, you should get used to it because you're going to get messy, but you can always use a spoon or really anything that you like. So just mix that up. Okay, and then we are going to sprinkle this dry mixture right over top. There's no mixing involved, it's all layered. It's pretty simple. Now the one thing about this recipe is that it does take about 3 hours to actually be done. So you want to start this on like a Sunday morning before you went to church, or if you needed it for a Saturday afternoon event, start it right when you get up, because then it's done and ready to go by the time you're going anywhere. So I'm going to take this melted butter and I'm just going to drizzle it over the top of this whole entire mixture. I'm going to turn it on high and let it set for 2.5 hours. I'm going to stick this lid on it, and we'll see that in a couple hours when it's nice and done. So I'm going to wash my hands, and when we come back, we are going to do our strawberry white chocolate scones, and they're awesome. So can't wait to see you back here. Welcome back to Bites on a Budget. I'm Sean, and I'm so glad that you're with us. We are going to finish up today with an awesome strawberry and white chocolate scone. It's great for breakfast, but it's really, really great to take to a party or a get-together, anything really that you need to bring something to. This is a super fast, really, really simple, and awesome, delicious recipe. So we're going to take all of our wet ingredients. So I've got 2 eggs, and I'm going to just crack those and put those right in here. And I've got 3 tablespoons of milk, and I'll also be adding half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I'm just going to take a whisk, break those yolks, and whisk this mixture together until all those eggs and everything is nice and combined and fluffy. Great. I'm going to set that aside. We're going to use it in just a little bit, and now we're going to combine all of our dry ingredients. So I'm going to take a nice big bowl. I'm going to take 2 cups of flour. I've got 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and I'm going to take my pastry blender. If you don't have a pastry blender, a fork works just fine, or a spoon, or really anything that you'd like to use. And I'm also going to add just a little bit of salt. So I'm using a sea salt, but you could use iodized salt or really anything. About half a teaspoon in there. And just finish combining all of that. And I'm going to take 5 tablespoons of cold butter. It's really important that it's cold. So I have half sticks. They're really, really easy to use. I got them at Looters, so it's just a great place. So I need 5 tablespoons, so half a stick and then an extra tablespoon. But I'm going to cube this, and then I'm going to fold it into what we've got going on over here with all the dry ingredients. Like I said, it's important that this is nice and cold. I'm going to take these butter cubes, chunks. Like I said, knife skills are not an important quality in what we're doing. So now I'm going to take this pastry blender and I'm going to work that butter into this dry mixture until it looks kind of like dry sand. Just really combining that butter with what's going on in the bowl. This is where the fork or pastry blender really come in handy. It helps to break that butter up in the bowl and to start to combine it with those other dry ingredients. And now that these are all combined, we're going to set that aside and go back to our wet ingredients. And so I'm going to take about a cup of sliced frozen strawberries. You can find these at any grocery store. And And I'm going to take these sliced strawberries and chop them up a little bit further. I've let them thaw out a little bit. It just helps them combine with all the dry stuff a little bit easier now that they're nice and thawed, and it's much easier to cut them. Now this may be a little bit more than a cup, but I really don't care because they're strawberries and you can always use more. So I'm going to take all of these strawberries and I'm going to just slide them all right into this egg mixture that we have going on over here. And I'm also going to combine about 1/3 of a cup of white chocolate chips. If you're a dark chocolate person, you could easily substitute dark chocolate chips, we're just going to use white chocolate chips for this recipe. So just going to combine those nicely in with that wet ingredient and those chocolate chips. Now that this is all nice and combined, we're going to take our dry ingredients and we are going to combine those all into one bowl. I know it's just baking stuff, but it smells so good already. I can't even tell you. And we have that that pumpkin apple dessert baking. This room just smells awesome. So I'm just going to combine all of these ingredients into a nice dough. They'll combine pretty quickly. It won't take too much work to get them to combine into a nice dough. And now that these are all combined, we're going to set that aside and go back to our wet ingredients. And so I'm going to take about a cup of sliced frozen strawberries. You can find these at any grocery store. I'm going to take these sliced strawberries and chop them up a little bit further. I've let them thaw out a little bit. It just helps them combine with all the dry stuff a little bit easier now that they're nice and thawed, and it's much easier to cut them. Now this may be a little bit more than a cup, but I really don't care because they're strawberries and you can always use more. So I'm going to take all of these strawberries and I'm going to just slide them all right into this egg mixture that we have going on over here. And I'm also going to combine about 1/3 of a cup of white chocolate chips. If you're a dark chocolate person, you could easily substitute dark chocolate chips, we're just going to use white chocolate chips for this recipe. So just going to combine those nicely in with that wet ingredient and those chocolate chips. And now that this is all nice and combined, we're going to take our dry ingredients and we are going to combine those all into one bowl. I know it's just baking stuff, but it smells so good already. I can't even tell you. And we have that that pumpkin apple dessert baking. This room just smells awesome. So I'm just going to combine all of these ingredients into a nice dough. They'll combine pretty quickly. It won't take too much work to get them to combine into a nice dough. So now that all this is mixed together, we're going to slide our cutting board out of the way. And we are just going to lightly flour the counter here. Just a little bit more on there. And we're going to take this dough and lay it out. Note to self, include less strawberries next time. There is a point at which there are too many. So you're going to work it out with the flour on the counter until it's about 6 to 8 inches across and about 1.5 inches thick. And then you're going to cut it in about 6 to 8 pieces. just take a cookie sheet, and if you have parchment paper, you could use parchment paper, but I'm just going to use aluminum foil. The one advantage of aluminum foil is it will crisp up the bottom just a little bit more. So just make sure that you're extra careful and watching that the bottom of it doesn't get too burnt. So just take each piece and slide it off onto your pan. Now my oven is preheated to 450 degrees. And these are going to go in for about 25 minutes. Great, and they're just going to go right in the oven. Well, our scones are just about done, and so we are going to make a really quick icing. All it is some powdered sugar, just a tablespoon of milk, and a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and just whisk it together really nicely. And it's just that easy. It's pretty quick. So I'm going to take our scones out of the oven. Oh, guys, they smell so good. They smell so good. So I'm just going to take one of these. And I like to really kind of load up the whisk and just drizzle it lightly across the top. These are so good. I can't wait for you to make these at home. So good. And this is that pumpkin apple dessert that we made earlier. It has been cooking for a while now, and it just has been, this whole kitchen smells so incredible. Oh my goodness. Making sure to get those apples. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. You're gonna make this for like every family gathering this autumn and this holiday season. It's so good. So thanks for joining us here at Bites on a Budget, and I'm so glad that you were here joining us at KBHU TV. Fuck. I'm gonna have to redo this whole fucking thing.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh.
You're not.
How good is it though?
It's super good.
You're solid. Just say that last bit again.
Ready? So thanks for joining us at Bites on a Budget. I'm Sean, and I'm so glad that you're watching us here at KBHU-TV. Remember, all the recipes you've seen in today's show are available at bhsumedia.com. And as always, shop smart. Thanks for watching.